Thank you very much. Very much welcome here tonight. And we're glad to see you people here. And I know, not that I don't hope, I know that you will be glad that you have attended it, because it's going to help you very much in your own life to understand success and to live success. And it makes me very, not anxious, it makes me very exciting to look at you people, because people are people that came as successes to this earth, and to see the success in people's lives. You know, we are people that's not living our whole life long. We haven't lived for, you know, let's say salaries and money and whatever, you know. Our payment is to see you flourishing in your success. I mean, that's our payment, to see you just exploding in everything that's in you. And we've seen many people in MoneyWise. We've been trained around about 1,000 people up to date in the MoneyWise course, the original MoneyWise course, the big course, if you can say it like that. And we've seen many stories of people, you know, coming to success in their lives financially and in every way. Because the money thing is interwoven, you know, with the rest of your life. It's not that you can sort of actually, you know, only become successful in one thing. You know, you need to bring every aspect of your life. You've got 7 relationships, and you must sort of lift everything together at the end of the day. But the original MoneyWise course has been divided now into 6 modules. The first module is 10 Steps to Financial Freedom. It's around about 3/4 of the original course. Then there's the investment one, number 2. Then there's the wealth creation one, number 3. Then there's the wealth creation mindset. Then there's this one that we do here, the formula of success. And then there's the big one, the nicest one, and that is how to build a family legacy. That's maybe one of the most exciting one, really, at the end of the day. How to build a family legacy. But we'll come to that. I don't want to talk about it because it is a course on its own. Okay, but the uniqueness of this course, the formula of success, is that it wasn't designed, it wasn't planned by me. You know, I'm always looking at people, you know, listening to people, you know, to their stories and whatever. And as I've met people, you know, especially when I've came in contact with wealth creators, and I listen to their stories, I realize that, you know, they've got all the same aspects in their life. There's certain phases that people go through. There's certain things that need to be introduced into people's lives. You always hear a different story, because it's different people, different background, different things. But at the end of the day, the core of everyone's story is basically the same. Because there's the same principles in everyone's story that living a successful life. And if you can identify those principles or those organic, let's say, elements in it, and you can enhance it in your life, you can activate it actively in your life, you will see that you can live success much easier and much quicker. So I believe that after this course, success will not be for you like this hype in the world. You know, you look on internet, and then this course, you know, 3 steps, you know, to quick cash, or this or that, or what, you know. Everyone wants success, you know, because success is part of our makeup. Success is something everyone wants to live in life, and that's normal. If you don't have it, you know, you have suppressed it somewhere along the line. Every one of us wants to live a significant life. You want to make a change. You want to make a difference on earth. You want to contribute something to people's lives, because that is actually our general purpose, or creative purpose, is that we're here to do something, to make something on earth better. And as you're still breathing at the moment, it means that your creative purpose is not finished. You still need to do the thing. Because God is giving you the breath every morning, and as long as He's giving you breath, He says, listen, there's still something to do, you know. And in that sense, there's really not maybe a retire, you know, but only a refire. You know, because there's only a different phase, it's a different thing, it's a different way of doing the thing. You know, and we need to be very open at the end of the day. And it's interesting that the biggest hindrance practically to success, you won't believe it what it is. The biggest hindrance to success in the practical life is settling for less. Is that people reach a certain level of success, and the moment they are in that level of success, they are sort of, you know, this is nice, you know, I've reached something in life. You know, but that success is your biggest obstacle to the next success. Because as long as you wake up the next morning, you know, and there's not another goal of success, you know, whatever success may mean in your life, we'll come to that, what is the meaning. But if there's not a new definition of success, of a new way of living it, of a new dimension of living it, you will sort of settle in this mode of, I've achieved something, and you've really achieved something. But there's always another phase. There's always something else that still wants to happen in your life till the day you die. Therefore, there is really not something like, let's say retirement, the meaning, I'm just going to do some nothing, till I die. Because the mere fact that you exist has got an influence upon people. The mere fact that you exist on earth and that you can appear in the presence of someone else makes a difference in this life. Because there's an atmosphere to you. There's something in your life that makes a difference even though you don't speak a lot. Even though you're not a orator or a whatever. Your mere presence makes a difference. But it can make more difference if you can maybe speak also, But the point is, that never settle to a place where you think, I've made it. Yes, there's certain goals in life. There's certain places where we've achieved certain things. But the success in every phase in life is the biggest enemy of achieving the next success. Because you always feel like, okay, give me just a time to, to sort of relax and just enjoy it. And so, and then you realize, but there's so much more left, And I've experienced it in my own life here, especially coming to this place, because I realized, but the Lord has got something more that I've been planning in my life. There's something more that He's got in hold for me. And it's as if it was coming here was sort of a wake-up call for myself to say, but listen, you need to maybe redefine the next phase of your life. It's not that the old things are now out, it's not that everything is new. No, but you must think in a newer dimension, in a much bigger dimension, maybe. You must think in a different way. You see, and it takes to challenge yourself a bit at that stage to say, okay, but what is it that is this next thing? Because it will obviously flow out of the previous thing, but it will become something else at the end of the day, because you have reached something here, you need to go to the next at the end of the day. Okay, so the formula of success consists, as we've given you the book there, it consists out of 15 chapters. We will do 2 chapters every evening that we're here, the Lord willing, and then we will go through it. I've been thinking, as I said, around this whole thing. In MoneyWise, we've always said, the basic formula of success is knowledge, skill, and activation. And that's still the heart of the formula, but the formula in the book is much broader. But that's still the core of the thing in terms of knowledge, skill. You need to get knowledge about something, maybe videos. Then you need to start do it, and get experience and make your faults, and learn how you not do it. And then you need to start to maybe open up a business or, do something with it and activate it into a direction where it will serve you and other people in life. But there's something much more to it. Success is in the one sense a very easy, simple thing. But to live it is yet, it's not say it's a difficult thing, but it is a bit more complicated because if it was really, let's say, easy, it's easy in the formula, but to activate it in the practical world is not so easy. Because it needs certain dimensions to happen in your life when we look to it. It needs a dimension where you need to define yourself. And most people haven't ever defined themselves. When you ask them, tell me about who you are, what you're here for, one sentence. They say, okay, Because people don't think about themselves. And the most tragic reason why people don't think about themselves, and I'm even saying it, let's say in shame to say it, is because of the sin theology that people are received along the way. People receive the sin theology in terms of, this is wrong and this is wrong and this is wrong, and it's not that wrong is right or whatever, but the sin theology is not the starting point in God's heart. We are all creations of God, and when things went wrong with the fall of man, the sin didn't got the hold upon you and your definition of your life. Your definition of your life is in the heart of God. Yes, sin influenced it and radically changed plans and whatever, but Jesus came and He changed it. So at the end of the day is that people are not positive about themselves, and believe it or not, that the number one thing that you will find with people that are living successful lives is that they are extremely positive about themselves. You know, people say, yeah, but that is selfishness. No, that is self-love. You're supposed to love yourself, to love your neighbor as you love yourself. If you can't love yourself, what do you have for the next person? If you can't even look after yourself that you can have a decent meal, how will you have more food to give to someone else? If you don't, what is the word, gun yourself, if you don't feel that you don't grant yourself. If you don't grant yourself anything that you can have something or some success or some provision or something, how on earth can you fight for someone else's rights and what is theirs and whatever, because you don't even believe in your own. You don't even believe in your own identity. How will you help another person? You must understand in life that you cannot do and give for someone else something that you can't give for yourself. Therefore, successful people live successful lives, therefore they change other people's lives because they are very positive about their own lives. Not in terms of, I'm a better person like you, and I'm richer than you. No, that's not what we're talking about. They are just very, very honest about who they are, what they are, and what they're here for, and they just live it. That's very important. We'll come to that now. So, how did I get on this wagon? I just want to take off here. But it is very important that you need to understand that you are the center of this whole thing. And this is the key to the whole solution is you. We need to come to you and who you are and what you are all about. You see, and that is the thing that was the most striking thing when I started to study it, is that we always think, success is something there. I've reached success in this and this position and this amount of money and this assets and whatever. Yes, it may be a sign of success, but it is not necessarily success. You see, and to start off, we need to make up our mind, what is the real definition of success? Because if you work with the wrong definition, you will get at the wrong point at the end of the day. So we need to define that thing and get to the place and understand that there need to be certain patterns in your life, certain lifestyle in your life, and that success is something that's really in you. Miles Monroe always said, the richest place on earth is the graveyard, because all the success that every person came with is buried there. And because we don't want to face ourselves as the starting point of success. Because we are so influenced by our sin theology that, I'm not good enough, and I'm not living in victory, I'm not, that at the end of the day, we don't live anything real substantial, but we long for success there, but we degrade ourselves, and at the end of the day, you can't produce anything in the outside if you can't produce it from the inside. It must first be produced in the inside before you can live it on the outside. Anything that you produce on the outside that is not an outflow of who you are in the inside is not sustainable on the long run. Yes, I can copy you, and I can do things like you and study also your field, and do some stuff like you do it, but I can't sustain it if it's not my talents and my gifts and my passion. I can't sustain it like other people. Therefore, it is one of the worst things if you compare yourself constantly with other people. This person has reached success, he's living here, he's this and this and this and this, you compare yourself. The Bible says it's the most foolish thing you can do. Because there's only one like you. There's no other person that you can compare yourself with except yourself. Because you're the only unique one on earth like you. You've got your own unique path. You've got your own unique skill set, creative purpose, everything. You cannot be compared with anyone else except Jesus Christ, because He is the origin of your life. If you want to compare yourself, you need to compare yourself with Him. And His answer is very simple. As I am, so are you. That's His answer. Whatever I can do, you can do. And He's given us a certain pattern in our own lives, in what we need to do and how we need to do it. Okay, so when we come to this definition that we've already maybe touched on at the moment, is that what is the definition of success? Men battle with this thing. We've got this midlife crisis, at 35, 40, 45. Men ask themselves, am I successful? Do I have it to make a difference in life? The most important question in women's lives is, am I beautiful? But especially men fight with this success thing, because they believe they were sent for success, and they're not wrong. They were sent for success. And then they feel, I've not achieved many things, and this is all the ordinary stuff. I'm married, 3 children, we've got food and a house, but this is so ordinary, that, what is the success in it? And then they go into a crisis in themselves, and somehow they always start to think that maybe number one, the marriage was the wrong thing, I married the wrong woman, Because we start to look for the fault on the outside. And let me say it today, whatever fault or problem you may experience in your life is always produced from the inside. There's no problem on the outside that was not produced from the inside. So even though your wife is a problem and she stayed now for 10, 20 years with you, maybe you've made her something, that she's not supposed to be. Unfortunately, I had to tell you, the chances of blame shifting and looking for a problem there on the outside is 0, because it's never. The manifestation of the problem on the outside is only a symptom of the real problem in the inside. Because we are the origin of everything in life. And that is the most essence of success. Is that success is not something on the outside. Yes, we can produce successful things from the inside, but success is in essence you. That is the most important principle you need to understand, coming back, to position and conduct. There's a human principle in life that man was created a living being and not a living doing. Yes, he's supposed to do a lot of things out of what he believes about himself. Because I am a successful person and I am a man, I go out, I do this, I study, I support, and I provide and whatever. But it's not because it's the demand from the outside, it is because that is who I am. So success lies in identity. Success lies in the understanding of who you are. So success comes to the point that you need to understand that you cannot become more successful than the day of your birth. That was the most successful day in your life. Yes, he said, but I was lying there, I could do nothing successful except screaming and all the other stuff, poo and whatever, But the point is that everything that you live, and you've lived the past 10, 20, 40, 50 years, was there at that moment. Everything was in there. Nothing was added along the way. All the skills and all the things were in there. All the capacity was in that baby. Because success lies in identity. Success lies in genes. Physical genes, spiritual genes. Success lies in who you are. Therefore, it's the most important principle that you need to get to understand is, who are you? And no one else can answer that question for you. No one else can really give you a complete answer except that you can get it from God. Who are you and what do you need to live? And I've seen it myself in MoneyWise. It is the most difficult thing in MoneyWise to get people to a point of order. Yeah, I also want a house, I also want this. All people want it, But why do you not have it? I mean, we have a world full of people that's got basically nothing. I mean, 60-70% people do basically have nothing. You see, because people say, I also want it, but the point is not if you want it. It's normal to want it. It's supposed to be to want it, but you will not get it because you want it. You will get it because you believe that's me. If you believe I was sent to stay on earth, I was sent to stay in a house, I was not sent to stay in a squatter camp. And it's not a question, I want this house, I don't want this. Listen, it's a question of this is who I am. The person that's standing here does not belong in a place like that. It is not right. It is not a question of we're trying to get out here. It's a question of we're not going there. We're just getting out of it. Because all things starts to change where there comes a persuasion in your heart concerning yourself. That listen, I'm struggling still in life. I don't know what's going on. I'm even maybe struggling with sin. I'm struggling with my career. I'm struggling with studies and I'm struggling. But listen, that doesn't define that you are a success. And that you can make up your mind whatever you want to live, although you don't live it. Because you will never live it if you don't make up your mind. You can't live it by experimenting with it and to see if we can get there. I remember I sat one day in Manawais with a woman, and she's got a child and then the twin, you know, and I said, you know, what's the next step? She, you know, we want to stay in a house, you know, with a grass and a tree, you know. I can see this is a mother. It's not about the house. Yeah, it's true, but it's actually about the grass and the tree, you know, for these children of hers. You know, and she and her husband, around about 30 years old, good jobs, extremely good jobs. She said, well, why are you not staying in that house? Yeah, but we can't afford it. You know, I stand there, I said, you're lying. Even though you stand here, you may not have a job, you can still afford it. You know, I can't afford it. You know, that's blame shifting. I can't afford it. I'm not asking you if you can afford it. I'm asking you why you're not staying there. The reason why you're not staying there is you believe you don't deserve it. Amen. That's why you're not staying there. It's got nothing to do with your salary. I mean, I bought my first house without a salary because I realized, listen, it's not about the salary. It's not what the bank thinks. It's what I think. It's what I believe about myself. Is that I said, listen, we're now going to buy a house. Whatever way we're going to do it, we're going to do it. And we did it. Because we said to ourselves, this is a line. You know, but the line came because we become honest with ourselves. What is the plan upon our lives? Because we've been moving once every year, you know, 9 times in 9 years, you know, with 6 children. It's terrible. You know, and I realized, listen, I can't live like this. I'm not supposed to live like this. This is not the normal life. This is not what God has intended for me. And I draw a line in myself. And because the line was in myself, it appeared on the outside. It's not like we're going to see if we can afford a house. You will not be able to afford a house, I can tell you. Even though you can be whatever job, you will not be able to afford it. Because it's not about affordability. It's about what you believe, what is the worth upon your life, and what you're supposed to live. I'm not saying that every person must desire to have the biggest and the greatest and the whatever, because, I mean, does it have any reasonable place in your creative purpose? If it's got a place there, fine. But it doesn't have a place there, I mean, why do you want it? Because we don't want to accumulate assets that's becoming a problem. We just want to have assets that help us in living and what we need to live on earth. But the big thing is that we need to come to the place where you need to realize that you cannot become a success. You are the success. You were the success from your birth. You were the success before your birth. The Bible says that God blessed you with every spiritual blessing before the foundation of the world. And I've never heard a successful story without the turning point thing. And that turning point is, you know, I'm not going to live in the squatter camp any longer. It's over. It's over. I'm not going to settle for a life any longer where I don't have shoes and I don't have food for my children. It's over. You always hear that turning point, that turning point. And that turning point is not becoming angry with your circumstances. It's not becoming angry with any other person. It's becoming angry with yourself that have settled for less. That they say, listen, I've just settled for this, and no one is to be blaming this. Except me, that just say, okay, it's okay, you know, it's okay. No, it's not okay if it's not okay with God. I mean, what is decent living? You know, don't tell me a squatter camp is decent living. I believe God wants people to have decent living. But you can't have decent living if you don't believe that God has given it to you as a right, if you can say it like that. It's not the right of the government to give it to you, it's a right to you. You need to do something about it. I mean, I realized, you know, when we bought our first house and we started to build onto the house, you know, I mean, I paid my workers more than I got paid myself, you know, to build for me. And then I thought to myself, you know, 5-10 years ago after that, we've numerous projects we've been building, but they're still staying in the same place. They've got the same capacity as me to go forward, but they're not going forward. They're always coming back and they say, your house becomes big. I say, but why is your house not becoming big? I don't know. And I said, but I don't have a toilet. Why do you not have a toilet? Well, I don't know. It's because you don't build the toilet. That's the reason. I mean, it's not, the government has not given me a toilet, you know. I mean, if you want a toilet, the toilet costs 300 rand, you know. You just need something around it, you know. I mean, you can have anything that you need, that you believe you must have. It's not about the price. It's not about what's there, whatever. It's all about, listen, do you really believe that you can have it because you need it in the situation of your creative purpose? That's what it is all about. If you start with the budget, you will never have it, because the moment you realize you need it, your budget will say no. But that's where faith starts, and say, okay, my budget says no, logically. I mean, it's not the budget is lying, but God says this, so we step out in faith and say, God, you said this, so it's no longer an experiment, it's no longer a longing, it's no longer a maybe we'll see, it is a line. We're going to have another room to the house. I mean, Brother Han will know, you know, we never had money to build, you know, but, you know, then we realized we need another room. Okay, do what you can do. I said, this is now so. Another room will appear here. So what can I do? I can at least step, you know, and put in some pegs, and, you know, this is where the room's going to be. Then we dig the foundation, and then we throw the foundation, and, you know, we draw the plans, and voila, at the end of the day, there's the room. We could never afford it. To be actually true with you, I could never afford anything in my life. Well, also not a wife. Also not 6 children. You see, but the point is not if you can afford it. The point is, what is God's will in your life? Maybe you say, I'm not a Christian. Well, I don't mind if you're not a Christian or a Christian in that sense. Because there's still a blueprint in you, even though you maybe even don't believe in God. There's a blueprint in your heart what you need to live. And God has given to every person on earth a blueprint in his heart. And if you become honest with the blueprint in your heart, and you become aggressive about that blueprint, you will live it. Even though you're not maybe even a believer. And I recommend you to believe it, because your Creator has given it to you. But listen, this thing will work even though because God has blessed you with it. Because He said, you are mine. I want you to live successful. I want you to live, you know, with progression and with being prosperous. Being prosperous doesn't mean you must have all the grandest and the newest and whatever. It means that you go forward. You know, your life grows. You bless people. You have more time and more money and more opportunities. And there's a progressiveness that's unfolding concerning who you are. I mean, because that's the key, who you are, because who you are is going to tell us, you know, what is the plan in all of this. So man is battling since the fall of man with a deep inferiority that's attacking our identity. That's why we're running away from being honest with ourselves. We don't want to talk with ourselves. We don't like this thing that's called self-talk, and you must talk with yourself. You must set time apart where you sit with yourself and you talk to yourself and you say to yourself, listen, what am I here for? What is this life all about for me? What must I do, and what is all these things all about? We must be honest with ourselves and define for ourselves why we are here. Okay, we've already said that success is a person. It is not an achievement of something on the outside. Yes, there are things on the outside that we're going to get to. But in essence, it starts with looking yourself in the eyes, becoming honest with yourself, confronting yourself with what you're supposed to live. And tell yourself, you know, and say, listen, you were called for this. And I remember so many times in my life, my biggest most difficult times in my life is when doors go open in front of you. Because doors will go open in front of you. Successful doors, beautiful potential doors. When you say to yourself, but going through that door is fine, because it's not that God, but I must define how far I must go through that door, because it will take time to go there. And it's maybe something else in my life that's more of a passion in my life. And then I must decide, because, you know, and we had, let's say the thing, you know, in getting involved in property, you know, we could become very, let's say, vastly prosperous in it. But I had to say, listen, there's a limit to it in my life. It's not my work. It is something that is a sort of, let's say, passive income or whatever. And I must put a limit to it because I must reserve most of my time still for what is the main passion in my life. And every time I ignore the main passion and take time from that passion and put it into something else, it starts to create frustration in you. Because you must put your time into what you believe, is your, let's say, the opportunity that's divided in your life. I mean, I've got some sort of a business talent in me, if you can say it like that. But if I spend more than 30% of my time on it, I become extremely frustrated with the same thing. Because I'm not supposed to spend more time there. In my scenario. But in your scenario, it may be totally something different. And it may even differ from time to time and from phase to phase. Maybe now that I do not have so many children in the home that's occupying your attention, taking so much time, you have more time and you can allocate that time to some other stuff, so you constantly need to reevaluate your life. And you need to sit and have a meeting with yourself. You have such meetings with yourself. And it sounds very me, mine, myself, but it is not to be selfish. It is to be honest with yourself and not to start to live a life, but you don't give accountability unto yourself. What are you busy with? Sometimes I see myself, I've got urgent things. But it is not a nice thing, so you push it away. What procrastination, Then I had to get a meeting with myself and say, listen, this is not working. So tomorrow morning when you stand up, the first 3 hours you're going to give to that thing. Doesn't matter if you like it, you don't like it. It is urgent. Otherwise, this urgent thing becomes a crisis. And now it's no longer you like it or not, you need to put attention to it. You need to have these meetings with yourself. What are you living? And what are you going to live next year? On average, I always ask people, on December, what are you going to do next year? And I look at you like this, what am I going to do next year? I mean, we'll see. What do you mean you will see? What the government is doing, where the economy is going, I still have a work, I said, no. How can you think about next year like that? I mean, you are the author of next year. What you want to make happen next year, you want to make happen. I mean, I don't plan next year according to the government and according to those and those. Yes, that's influences, that's factors, it's true. But they don't have the final say what's going to happen in my life. I've planned last year that I'm going to write a certain amount of books this year, and we're still on track and we're just moving it at the moment because there's still 2 outstanding on this year, and this year is running out because we determine what's going to happen this year. No one else. We are the creator of every year of our lives. Whatever you want to live and whatever future you want, you create. You don't wait for the government and for the economy and for whatever. They're not going to produce it for you. Yes, it's going to be maybe a positive or a negative factor. But whatever is the plan and the blueprint in your heart, you can plan and you can live next year. So we don't plan next year according, we'll see. We'll see what? Therefore people never make progress in their lives. You ask them December, tell me what progress have you made since January? Okay, I've received a better salary. Okay, now where's the money? No, it's gone. See, but that's no progress. I mean, having a better salary is not progress. Because you just may be eating more well now, but there's still nothing left. There's still no passive income. You've made no progress. According to your plan, you've made no progress. You've survived. You know why? Because you're living on a survival kit, and you're not living on a meeting where you talk with yourself and you be honest with yourself. What am I here for? What is my responsibilities? Where must I go in all these responsibilities spheres? Because if I am a writer, I must write something. Okay, I'm going to write something next year. We'll see. No, it's going to work like that. You need to write it down. What you're going to write. How many you're going to write. 100 pages, 200 pages. What's your capacity? You're doing it sideline as a career or whatever, You need to define that thing. Because that thing is inside of you. You can define it, but if you don't define it, you will not live it. You will not live what you can't define that's inside of you. Because if there's not clarity in what is standing here, there will not be clarity on the outside. I can promise you. Then people say, yeah, but my life is so in a turmoil. Yeah, it's because you are in a turmoil. You're thinking about yourself is in a turmoil. That's why you live it. And don't think you can sort that thing out. You're not going to sort it out. You need to sort yourself out. You need to get to a new understanding and a fresher understanding of the success that you are. Yes, I'm honest about things that's not maybe in line currently in my life. That's not wrong. But that does not degrade or cancel the calling that I have, what I must do. And you must define it and give it some goal settings. It must appear on your calendar. I came to a point where I say to myself, if I can only write 4 pages a day, then I can reach this. And every day when there's not 4 pages, I tell myself, you're in the red, my friend, you're in the red. Because to reach the goal, 4 pages a day, you're not going to reach it. Then I need to make up for the 4 pages. Guess what? If you don't do it, you don't reach your goals. You don't reach and you don't live who you are because you are not clear about yourself. We are so used to live out of sin perspective and in performance, We just do things, to show people we're busy, and whatever. Listen, this busy lives, I'm being honest with myself, People are so busy, but if you live your real life, you're supposed to become less busy, and have more time for people. And not, because we're not here to perform and whatever. I'm living what I want to live and what I'm called to live. Okay, so success is a person. We're here not to make you a successful person. We're here to help you to reveal the success in you, to define the success in you, to get a plan for that success and to start to live that success. But it is challenging. In the practical sphere, it is very challenging because life is happening. And it's not always an easy scenario. The reason why the book's name is Formula of Success is because it's not a formula for success. We're not trying to reach success. It's very important. It's the formula of the success that's in your life. It's not a formula for success in your life. So the main thing you need to turn around in your mind tonight is, when you step out of that door, you say to yourself, I am the most successful person that has been born on this earth, because all people are born 100% successful. And you may be proud about it that you are a successful person. You can talk to yourself, listen, I'm not going to allow you to not to live that success. You're going to die when you're going to live what you're supposed to live. There's things that's nagging at you. Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing this? No, not going to do this, But it's frustrating you. I'm not saying you must leave what you're doing at the moment, but you must start to listen to that voice that's inside of you. You must start to incorporate it and work towards that point where you start to do what you're supposed to do. Okay, but when you start to define yourself, we can say that success can be a plan, on the outside, because success is an outflow of who you are. What you are is basically a creative purpose. A purpose has got a plan, it's got a strategy, and at the end of the day it manifests as a certain something. So there's definitely a plan involved in it. And the only measure that you can measure your success is according to your plan. If I've said to myself I must write 5 books this year, and I only wrote 4, then I can say, okay, I was 80% successful. But then you look at me and say, but I've wrote no book, I'm a failure. No, you're not a failure because you're not supposed to write 1 book this year. You're not called to write books. It's not your makeup. You're not a writer. You're not supposed to write a book. So don't compare yourself with me. People always ask, but you think I've made progress? Well, tell me where you're heading. Where do you believe you must end up? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Because according to who you are, we can have a plan. According to the plan, we can measure if you're making progress. If you tell me you want to become financially free or maybe have a passive income, well, okay, then we've got some measure. What is the amount of money that you need to be financially free? So we must get the measurements. We must start to be very, very specific at the end of the day, what is this plan all about? Success can reach certain success points. Okay, we published this one book, book number 2, number 3, number 4. Yes, but it is not the whole success of the year. It's not maybe the whole success of our career, of our creative purpose. Because we may be called for something more and more, whatever it may be. So don't allow a successful point that you will see, that will arrive, become the settling station. Oh, okay, no, this is fine, you know. Let's just rest for 6 months and do nothing. Now, what is God's plan? If He tells you to rest for 6 months, then it's fine, no problem. But what is the plan? What is the thing upon your life? And the only person that can find that out is you. Because it's written on your heart. People say, yeah, but you can't listen to your heart, you know. Bedrieglik is die hart bo alle dinge. Yeah, it was the Old Testament. It's not like that in the New Testament. Your heart is written. God has redeemed your spirit. He's got a blueprint in your spirit. There's something in you that you need to believe. And if you can't believe the captain of your own ship, your ship will go nowhere. Because you are the captain of your ship, the ship of your life. And if you cannot become proud, I'm not saying, what is the difference, you know?
Prideful.
I'm not prideful, I'm not a better person than you. I'm just the best in what God has made me to be. You're the best in what God has made you to be. You know, and I'm not comparing myself. There's no comparing. There's no way we can compare each other. Because we are all the best in what God has designed for us. And what He has designed us to be and to live. And you must become very positive about it. You must become proudful about it. And say, I'm going to live it. I'm going to live it in the most successful way. Because that's what I was sent for. I've got one life. Do it and live it. You know, live it completely. But I need to understand that I had to rethink myself at the end of the day. Assets can be a sign of success, but assets it's not. Maybe, I mean, I've met people that's got lots of money and assets, you know, but they're still living in a poverty mindset. Because you can inherit a lot of money, you know, you can maybe out of your talents you can make a lot of money. That is a form of success. But still you think about yourself as nothing, you know, I'm not a good father, I'm not good enough for this, I'm not good enough for this. Listen, you're good enough for whatever God has called you to be. You are the best, not even good enough, you are the best in whatever is set out and the blueprint in your heart. And start to believe it. I remember when we wrote the Money Wise game, we were so discontent with the games, you know, we've been playing with the young people. And I just said to myself, but can we not write a game where everything in the financial world is on the table, number one. Number two, it must not be played with luck, it must be played with skill. No dices around here. I said, but where do you begin? I said, you know, I remember there was a day where I said to myself, we're going to write that game. I don't know where to begin, but we're going to write it. You know, there need to come that point. And the moment you say to yourself, I remember, months was still going on. And then suddenly one night I dream a board. And I wake up and I said, here's the board. Okay, but that was a starting point. That was a little bit part of the big thing. But it gives me, you know, something to start with. And then we create some stuff out of it. And then we redeveloped everything and whatever, you know. And at the end of the day, the Money Wise game came out of it. But it came out of a decision, we're going to write that game. I don't know how, don't know how long, maybe it's 10 years, we don't know, but we're going to write it. It's as if you say, God, I make myself available that you can download your game from heaven through me into this world. I make myself available that you can download some new form of service, some new form of ministry, some new form of whatever, of a new way of doing things through me. Give it to me. You know, I always say to Marianne, and tonight when I was reading this, you know, I say it in the right context. I always say to Marianne, I really want to meet this author, you know. If she can introduce me to this author, because really this is good. But I know I wrote it, but you know, it wasn't me writing it. I know it, because I couldn't think out this. I really know when I read it, it's too good for me to think out. It's really too good. I'm really honest about it. But I also realized it couldn't be written down if someone couldn't get to a place and say, Lord, now we're going to write this book. Just suddenly one morning I saw this formula and I said, we're going to write this book. 1 month later the book was finished. It's a download from heaven, people. It's not about you. It's not about your greatness. It's about the greatness of God's kingdom that's got everything for you and me. But there's something God wants to download successful of His kingdom through you. But you need to make up your mind, what are you going to do? Because if there wasn't a morning that I said to myself, Lord, I see something that's making me excited about success. I'm going to write a book. At that stage I couldn't even write the introduction, or not the introduction, the content. The content page was like 5 things, I mean, but that's the beginning. That's how you begin. I've got 5 things to write about. So let's start. I mean, why would God give you more if you can't even write the 5 things He's already given you? Just start to write, you can cut and paste and go on whatever. And eventually you become a channel for the success that God wants to download into this life. And I still know I want to get introduced to this author. Why? Because it's really not me. And the same is about you. There's something that's waiting to happen through you, and it is not an accident. It is a beautiful story. But you must believe it, otherwise you cannot do it. You must not only believe it in the sense, I hope. Believe means, I am persuaded. The word believe means persuasion. That's the Greek word. It's a point of persuasion. It's a point of persuasion. I'm going to write it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this money-wise course or whatever, I don't know where to start, but I know that I know. This is the starting point. And if that thing doesn't happen in you, you cannot do the thing. I always say to Shalom, I remember when we've been buying houses, when we look at these houses, you summarize the thing, it's like, maybe not, maybe not, And I once said to him, Shalom, I said, there's maybe lots of things in this house that is a problem. But when we make up our minds, we don't turn around. We don't turn around. We put this house under new management, and this house has got one purpose, and that is to become successful. Why? Because we have decided that it will be successful. The house doesn't have the option. We will make it successful. Doesn't matter what pop out here. And I mean, we bought that house, and nearly 3/4 of all this stuff we've thought going to pop, just, hidden in the walls and whatever. And we had a big battle in fighting this house, and we said, you're going to be a money machine. That's your destiny. You've got no option. We will make you that. It is not an experiment in our lives. It is, we have decided this is what it's going to be. And that house became a real money machine, if you can say it like that. For the purpose it was let's say, bought for. So the thing needs to happen in you. It must happen in you. That doesn't matter if it's a house or if it's children. You sit here and say, oh, I'm pregnant, I'm hoping to be a good mother. Listen, that's not enough. It's not about hoping to be a good mother. You know why you're pregnant? You're pregnant because God knows that you are the best mother for that child. That's the only reason why you're pregnant. He's not wondering if you're going to be the best mother. He knows you're going to be the best mother. He's declared it already. He's totally persuaded about it, You just need to say it the same. I'm going to be the best mother. I don't know how. I don't know, God will teach me. That's it. And then I'll just do what He's telling me. And then you must believe it that you are the best mother. Why? Because you are. Otherwise you've given the baby to someone else. You must make up your mind about yourself. I'm going to try to be a good husband or a good wife too. Don't try. Make up your mind. Because you are the best. You are successful. Tell yourself, I'm going to be the best. Why? Because that is my makeup. I'm like my Creator. I'm like Jesus. He's not doing anything halfway, and whatever. He's doing it with everything, with the excellence of the kingdom. So let's go for this. So success at the end of the day, we can close down. It's a journey, a long road. We always want the prize on the journey, but we don't want the process of the journey. On the journey, there's lots of prizes. We publish a book and people say, oh, it's beautiful, They write you beautiful letters, you know. We like that place, you know. But listen, there's days and months before that, 4 pages a day, 4 pages a day. You know, you had the discipline, you had to sit down, you had to draw from God. No one knows about that. You know, I mean, everyone says, oh, you've raised such a beautiful child, you know, but, you know, when we look back, you know, there's months and years that you've been battling and the nappies and, you know, 3 o'clock at night and whatever. I mean, it's a process of lots of things that need to happen to get at this place where you get points of success. And yes, the points of success are beautiful, and it's the prizes, but success doesn't come through the prize, it comes through the process. Life is a process. You need to write that book is a process. You need to sit down and go through stages. What is the name? What is the subject? What is the content? What is this? In every one of the chapters you need to go through. You need to get a line. I mean, Marianne is busy writing a book. I'm pushing her because, you know, because it's extremely exhausting process if you need to, you know, work through 200, 300 pages constantly and get a line. But at the end of the day, it ends up in something beautiful because it is there and you need to get it out of yourself. So what is life for you? What is the uniqueness that's in you? Because you may be you're unique yourself. You are different than anyone else. So be different than anyone else. I mean, because you're already like that, you know. Just remember at the end of the day, we said, you know, that all of our success, I'll close down with this, is wrapped up in, if we can say, in relationships. Man is a relational being. Your relationships is like, we say, glass balls. If the glass ball falls, you know, it breaks. But your business, it can maybe go bankrupt, you can start up another business. It's like a rubber ball, it can jump back. But you must be very, very careful about your glass balls that you have in your hand, your relationships. Because you can rebuild some stuff like businesses, you can change business, get another work, you know. But it's not easy to change relationships. I mean, if you've got children, they're your children, you know. You cannot, what is it, ingee, you cannot exchange them or, you know, whatever. No, but, you know, you must make a good job of it. You must put your heart in it, you know. You must put your heart into your marriage or into your, at your work and whatever, you know. Look after your relationships and do it. Remember that the success is in you. It's not about something on the outside. You are the success. And you must be positive about yourself. You must be clear about yourself. You must be persuaded about yourself. You must be excited about yourself. You must be very strict upon yourself and don't let yourself run away from what you're supposed to live. Because one day you're either going to get compensated for that or maybe get some rebuke. Because there is a judgment day still. But God's intention is for you to say, listen, I've given it to you, you lived it. And the last thing that's got to say in it is the budget. Let's be clear about it. The budget will jack up itself when you've made that decision in yourself. I've never seen the budget updating itself, if you can say it like self, if you haven't made that decision in what you're going to do and whatever. And when you make that decision, I will tell you for sure, your budget will not be in line. So make peace with that. It's part of life. Because it's part of the thing that it's a test upon your life to say, listen, this is my responsibility. I've got a responsibility to write this book, even though one read it or whatever, even though I only read it, Marianne always say to her, but who's going to read it? They say, well, the Lord's going to read it. And if He tells you to write Him a book, then you write Him a book. And if one person or 10 million read it, it's fine. We don't do it, number one, for people. We do it as to our Lord, to show His kingdom and His life and what is in us. Thank you very much.